What's going on, social media?
Hey,
We're
hey.
back.
Hey everybody.
Bottoms up perspective. So,
Yeah.
2022, and we are on episode 87.
You're still
And
counting?
yeah, we're still counting. So,
All
my
right.
goal is we go get to 100, you know? So, super excited to be back. And we're here tonight, and we go talk about the most valuable asset on this planet, which is our time.
Let me guess. Oh, I thought it was toilet paper. Okay, time.
Diamonds, oil,
Toilet
water.
paper.
Yeah,
Chocolate.
so tonight, as we put 2021 behind us and we're heading, the start of 2022. Let's talk a little about time, because time, it doesn't matter if you're the career man or unemployed or the entrepreneur guy. Time matters, and we live around time, right? So when it comes to time, what are things you've learned in 2021 to be better with your time?
Oh, I guess in normal tradition, I start right. I think time is an interesting concept because it can stretch and it can disappear depending on what you do. Um, I think 2021 was weird in the sense that sometimes time went really fast, but sometimes it just felt like a drag. I mean, if you look at the entire start of the pandemic till now, it feels like it's been years, but actually it's just been 2 years, or maybe it felt more like a decade. Yeah, and depending on what, yeah, and depending on what situation you're in, it might stretch or disappear at the blink of the eye. Case in point, I think if maybe you are not so fortunate and you became unemployed, I think time will feel like a drag. And on the other hand, if you're in some, I don't know, tech company or in whatever fast moving space over the past 2 years, if, for example, crypto, you're in the company that does crypto, I think time will be very fast for you. So I can't say I've learned any lesson in 2021 versus, looking forward 2022 in terms of time wise. But one thing I have sort of realized over the past couple of years is that time is one aspect, but in terms of work, the other thing you have to manage is also your energy, right? It's usually people don't think about it that way. Yeah, it's also only occurred to me a couple of years back, because sometimes you have the time, but you just don't have the energy to do certain things. So the two, you need to sort of consider it together, in the sense that, you should know by now whether you are a morning person or a night person, or which time zone that you work best for work or for whatever else. And you are able to work well during that period of time because your body clock, or whatever you want to call it, is at its highest energy level then. So you need to always consider the two as a single unit so that you can maximize your output. That's kind of like the lesson I've learned in terms of time and energy management over the couple of years. Because you might have a lot of time. Like, for example, the past 3 weeks or so, I've been on a long break. Had a lot of time, but may not have the energy to do everything I want to do because I just sit there and laze, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's my little contribution for now. I'll let you guys take a time to talk on this.
That's why you seem just so radiant tonight, Jeremy.
Am I?
Yeah,
Am I?
you're just like, you just see so happy, relaxed, like just
Not for long though.
Like
Not for long.
I almost need my sunglasses because you're just shining so brightly.
I didn't change the lights.
That's probably what it is. No, I really like what you said. I really like what you said because it is true that you can have a lot of time, like in a day, but you have your optimal time where you can get the most done, or you can be the most creative or the most awake. Mine is like around probably 10 in the morning until 11 or 10 to noon. That's my like optimal time. That's when I have the most energy in the day. I know that's kind of funny, but yeah, I just have like a couple hours that if I can work right in that moment, it's like Superwoman.
Yeah,
But
nothing will
before
phase you. You
that,
can clear everything.
before that, there's too much going on. After that, maybe I don't have the energy anymore.
And before that, maybe before that you don't have your coffee, so no energy as
Yes,
well.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I think for me, during this entire 2021 and the pandemic, I feel when you look back, time went pretty fast. Like it's already 2 years, right? With
Oh
COVID,
yeah.
the pandemic. It seems like we've been in it forever, but it's like, oh, another year passed, right? But I think due to the pandemic, it really allowed me personally to really value what matters, like how fast time goes and how precious it is, and especially when you turn on the news and you're seeing, just every day there's someone that's passing away, or just getting sick, or different things. So it really allowed me to really take a step back in my life and go, what are we spending our time on?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is your career, building a company, really in the matter of this life timeline, right? How important is it, right? We have to have our career, we have to have income in order for survival only. I don't know one person truly, even when they say on social media that they love job or whatever, besides Aldrich. you know,
Hi, Aldrich.
I don't really think, like, if people had unlimited funds, unlimited income, or income didn't matter in order for survival, would you work?
No, I don't know.
No, right? Most people would probably say no, right? Yeah. I don't think anyone just do it for the pleasure of working, because you hear it a lot. Oh, my job is my passion. Oh, I love my company, different things. And I agree with that to a certain point, right? But then the longer you live, you start having family, get married, have kids, priorities change, fall in love, right? Because some people aren't married to the person they're in love with, and maybe it's different, right? But then those are the things that matter. And then in the timeline of life, you start thinking your kids grow older. They become more distant because no longer are they the little boy that wants to hug you. They start caring about what other people think, and then slowly they start dating. Just like my nephews, right? They used to come see us for Christmas. Now they go hang out with the girlfriend's family, or they want to see someone else. They don't want to see us, right? So things change because now they're 19, 20, they're in college. The priorities change. Mm-hmm. But you only have one chance, one opportunity, right? For those moments. Your 6-year-old, when they become 7, they'll never be 6 again.
Yeah.
Right? But when it comes to career, job, making money, you can always go and make money as long as you're not dead. You can go
as long as you have the time.
Yeah. Right? So why, as the human race, right, as humans, why do we put so much priority in our work and making money?
Because it's, well, I hope I don't speak for the entire Singaporean population, but it's really about materialism, consumerism, because you have so many, not necessarily needs, because you have many wants, or society sees you as certain definition of success. So you want to try and meet that standard. So you want to have lots of money. So to have lots of money, you need to work hard or work smart or whatever, be successful, and you trade time for that. I guess if we work backwards, the equation. So time is precious because it's limited. We all know that, right? Because everyone's time is limited. But it is also interesting that we do not know how limited each one's time pool is, because you don't know when you're going to die, right? So that's what makes it that's what makes it interesting. That's why you have all these people saying that, especially these 2 years of the pandemic, live in the moment. People, the great resignation thing, because people suddenly realize that, hey, you only live once, or you might suddenly contract COVID and drop dead. So what am I doing with my time? Maybe I'm not pursuing what I want to pursue. Maybe I should quit my job because I don't really like it, and I want to do something I want. Make the best use of my time while I'm still alive, make a difference in my own life. And suddenly all this whole realization comes. I don't know how much that's impacting most people, but I think for me, thought about it, but I guess I'm still gonna stay as it is.
I like what Langston Wilson said. Now is all there is, right? So it's so
true.
important to live. I have a friend who actually Facebook messaged me about, we live in the moments, right? In every moment, because right now 2022 is a new year, right? So what happens? New Year's, people set new goals, new resolutions. And
I don't set any goals.
We were having this discussion, and he goes, why would you do that? Because, it's good to set goals, but
it's good, yes.
If you wake up every day and you live in the moment, in the now, just like Langston said, and you live to the fullest you can, then every day you're technically achieving your goals, right? And sometimes I think we get so focused on setting goals, but then we miss the entire execution of the goal.
The present.
And you see it all the time. You get super excited about, New Year's, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to make more money. I'm going to do these things. And 2 weeks on, dude, it takes consistency. It takes prioritizing what you think is more important for you to accomplish these goals. And what happens is you just don't accomplish it. And then the next year, 2023 comes along, you're setting the same resolutions again. Right?
That's why I stopped thinking about this.
But I love what Langston Wilson said. Now is all there is, right? You live in the now. Because
you don't know what's going to happen the next moment.
We aren't promised tomorrow or the next minute, right?
Yeah.
And I think more, like you were saying, the great resignation, I think people are realizing that.
Yeah. But there's also a danger in the living in the now thing, because if you really stick to that, right? Stick your guns out and just, I'm gonna live in the moment now, then you don't plan the long term. Everything is just short term, and the short term is like now. Then actually what you should do is go and spend all your money, right? I mean, this is an extreme example, but I'm just using it as an example to point a scenario that now is all there is, true, but you can't really do that 100%, because if you do that, then there is a danger. So always in moderation, always everything in moderation.
Yeah. So what are things that, for you, Jeremy, what are you prioritizing in 2022? What are...
like I said, I don't really... the video game part is I should start playing my games and not buy new ones. I don't really have like a 2022 priority thing, but work-wise,
COVID.
Stay alive, man. Stay alive. But work-wise, you have to do the usual goal setting, so KPIs and stuff. So that's one part. But personally, I don't really set anything. Really is to get through, stay alive, stay employed, be a valuable member of society. Hopefully, I still retain my value, and simple goals. Do this video thing once a week as much as I can, without work interfering. Like today, can only do half an hour. I don't really. Maybe that's really living in the moment. Don't have all these goals. Just do every day as it is. Nothing much really. What about you guys? Jen, any plans, goals? You yourself, your kids?
I don't know that I have. Well, I mean, I want to spend more time with my children and really give them more, more one-on-one attention.
Because you're not doing enough now, or?
Yeah, because I'm not doing enough now.
But how much is enough?
Here's
How
the
much is
thing.
enough? It's never enough.
It's never enough, but when something is there all the time, you tend to get tired of it or weary of it or used to it or take it for granted. But kids feel differently. They don't feel I'm with mom all the time, so I'm bored of mom. They're always wanting attention. And so seeing it from a child's perspective is very different. But I think for me, money is, I don't know about my goals per se for 2022, but I think money and time are similar. They're both something that you spend. And I think that you spend your time on things that you value.
That's good.
And that was something that I was thinking about as Aldrich. Time is definitely everything. We are running short of time every day. So Aldrich doesn't have enough time to get everything done. Make maximum value by working hard and showing up no matter how tired we are. And Aldrich, I do think that you're very good proof of that statement that you're making.
Yep.
So
he lives by it every day, every minute, every second. No doubt about it. Nobody will ever doubt that.
Yes.
I agree.
But yeah, I feel whatever you value is what you spend your time on. And I think for me, I don't remember exactly when it is, but I think it was in my 20s. I realized as I was working that I'm pushing really hard to do a good job, to be noticed in my job, to be, to get those promotions and to have people say, hey, good job. You're doing a great job. You're such a hard worker. We want you on our team. And all of a sudden, one day I realized I had developed a fear because time would pass so quickly when you're busy.
Yeah.
When you're focused on those things, time goes so quickly. And all of a sudden I'm like, now Aldrich's not going to like this, but it's just the truth. I all of a sudden developed this fear that I'm going to miss out on something, that all of a sudden I'm going to be at the end of my life. And all I accomplished was doing a good job at my job. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing a good job at your job, but if you see what I mean, time is always going by. So are we in control of time or is it in control of us? And I think sometimes I might take that to the extreme and relax a little bit too much. But Kevin's always so busy, and he needs to be, because we run a company. But time, he's always saying, wow, time goes so quick. Time goes so quick. And I'm like, really? Oh, I feel like I'm living every single moment of it. I'm not missing a thing. So I don't know if that's like a mental thing where I'm making sure to stop every moment and see what's going on. I want to know what's going on around me. I want to know what's happening in the world. I don't want time to just pass me by, even though it's going still.
But that's hard to achieve. How many times in a day do you stop and pause and have the awareness that this moment is going past and this is what's happening in front of you, and then just take a step back and take a mental picture of the time, that moment, and realize that the time is slipping by. I don't really do that.
Long. Every
you
day.
do that? That's actually good, but of course, everything in moderation. Everything in moderation.
Okay, it is a luxury, and that may mean that I'm not busy enough. Okay, but I will be.
No, nothing
busy
wrong with that.
But I just stop and think about where I've been, what I've done, what I have and haven't accomplished, where I want to be, all the way until my moment that God's done with me here on earth. Will I have any regrets? No, I don't. I want to try to have no regrets. So that doesn't mean you can't make any mistakes. I just mean that I want to feel accomplished. I want to feel that I gave my kids the best I could, or I did the best for my husband that I could, or just whatever makes you feel fulfilled inside. So
I think you brought up a couple of points, Jen. I think happiness and fulfillment, right? And everyone's happy and fulfilled in different ways, And for example, Eldrick, he likes to work. That's how he feels fulfilled and he feels happiness, which is great. And everyone's wired different, right? But I do agree that a lot of times when you're busy, because I used to be a little even more extreme in my younger years, and it helps. I'm a little more financial stable than I was in my younger years, so it is a luxury, right, to be able to kind of take a step back and slow down. But there are times where you have to push the pedal. You have to accelerate, for survival, And I think there's a balance. There's this hustle mentality, and then there's also this take a step back and breathe. I think there's seasons for everything, and there's a time for all of it, right? And I think it's what I've learned over the years, the importance of valuing our time. And this goes from a professional perspective, since a lot of our viewers are on LinkedIn, is as an employer, value your time. That's so important, because I feel beginning of my career, there was times I wasted because I was afraid to speak up, or I was disappointed, unhappy at my job. But I just told myself it's going to get better. Or I had an abusive management group. But then I told myself it's okay. Let's fight through another day, and then another day, another day. But guess what? I don't get that time back. I'm just super unhappy, right? And then years gone by. But the truth is, I could have looked for another job.
Correct.
But that goes to, as I gotten older, I learned I wasn't valuing my time. My employers don't care. You're doing your job. They're not seeing where you are on the happiness level, right? Mm-hmm. And then I started also seeing that as an entrepreneur, owner of a business, it's important to value your time as well, because there are clients that are not worth your time. Yep. And there are partnerships and things that pull you away, energy that you shouldn't waste your time on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're not actually not doing any favors by being nice.
Yeah.
Because you're just hurting yourself, At the end of the day, those relationships don't work out anyway, because you already knew going into it you wanted to say no. Mm-hmm. But you went ahead and say yes out of the fear of uncomfortable or confrontation or different things like that. And I've really learned that, like with business today, right? If I go into a client relationship or a business partnership knowing it's going to go sour, guess what? If you say no, someone else will take that place of that client that's going to be a better client. There's always a better fit. So don't worry about saying no. The biggest takeaway tonight, right? Mm-hmm. Your time's valuable. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to say no to things. And that's the same thing with, I tell my kids that. It's the same thing with friendships. If they aren't nice to you, don't be friends with them.
Don't waste your time, yeah.
Don't waste your time.
And I think we live so much of our life, if we look back to our younger years, where we wasted time on relationships that weren't going anywhere in the first place. Right?
But you wouldn't know better, because when you're younger you had more time. And because we're talking about business and clients and all that, right? Work relationship. I want to also pull in what Jen said earlier about how time and money is similar, because you can choose to spend it. But I sort of disagree, because they are quite different in the sense that you think you think you can choose to spend your time, but actually every single moment is taken away.
Yeah.
It is disappearing. That's different from money. Money you can accumulate. If you don't do work with this client, you lose that money or the opportunity. You can always find one to replace. But time is always slipping away. You cannot accumulate it. You can't say, I sleep 6 hours now, and then I can use these 6 hours I slept on a different time. Doesn't work that way. So it is quite different. Yes, similar in some way, but it's still essentially very different. So time is still much more important than money. And usually, when you give up your time for money, is usually not so equitable, right? I think the value is bigger on the time, and yeah, every moment is slipping away. So once you think about it that way, and you don't know when your time stops, it's a scary thought.
Yeah.
It's a scary thought.
And I think, as you get older, and okay, when you ask a young person, even myself, I sometimes ask myself, okay, if I were to go back to my 20 something, self, the way I look at things was so different than now, right?
Yeah.
And now I understand why my parents said that as you get older, you have fewer friendships, right? So as you get older, like now, we make jokes, right, Jennifer? Actually, I think our son said something to you, right? Mom, you don't have any friends. What he said?
No, he's so funny. Yeah, we were talking the other day, and he said something. I go, honey, at school, you don't need to try to please people. You need to just be yourself. And it's not about pleasing other people or getting them to like you or doing what pleases them. It's about, you have to be confident in yourself and you do what you feel is right. Mom, that's why you only have 2 friends, because you don't try to please anybody. And I thought that was so funny. I mean, I didn't know really what to say to that. I mean, I know tons of people, but he only sees me interact with a couple people because I don't pull everybody close to me. Not everybody's in my inner circle. And especially with COVID, we just don't see a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so
you need to pick and choose.
To him, he's like, you have 2 friends, Mom. That's the problem. That's why you have just 2 friends. And it was so hilarious. I didn't know what to say to that, but I was like, yeah, I guess, dear. Fine. Okay, you go people please away then. Okay, you just people please yourself away then.
But he had a point, right? I think as you go old, or when you grow older, right, you start having more priorities, right, in life, right? Now you have to pay your own bills. You have to figure out how to put food on the table, not just for yourself, but also your kids. So your priorities your time decreases even more. So you start valuing more of your time, and then you start having more, okay, who is the right relationships that I want to spend my time on, right?
Correct.
So it becomes less and less, and then all of a sudden you only have a handful of friends, right? First is when you're young, you have all the time in the world. Yeah, you just worry about yourself, and if you don't eat a meal, you just don't eat a meal. Like, I don't have a choice of not making a meal because my kids are like 7 and 9. They're not capable of mom and dad not making them food.
When things get hard, I think like at the beginning of COVID, you tend to all of a sudden see clearly who's really a healthy relationship. And all of a sudden you begin to just, if you're a person who wants to continue to get better in your life, to better yourself, you're like, I don't want this negativity. There's so much negativity in the world. I don't want to spend my time listening to this person be negative all the time. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's not a healthy relationship. And so, it just kind of starts to dwindle.
Yeah. And I think people are realizing that. So if you look at these social media platforms, right? I'm a digital marketer. So I look at social media analytics all the time, like 24/7. And you've noticed engagement actually has gone down as we progress in this pandemic, right? And it's kind of interesting because I think the more we spent early on in the pandemic, the more as things are a little more lax, as human beings, we're valuing more back to relationships, the people that matter, right? And that's why people are like, this holiday, people were out in spite of COVID, right? And I think that says a lot, because sometimes we go, oh, with everything technology, we're going to be more disconnected. We're all going to be just online. But it really allows me as a digital marketer to look back. I don't think in-person shopping is going away. I don't think.
No, definitely not. Everything's back up.
Relationships, I mean, there's a difference. I mean, the pandemic proved it. You can't just do live shows and build friendships. There's difference if I fly over to Singapore and truly eat dinner with you, Jeremy. There's a difference.
Waiting for
right?
that.
We're
Waiting for that,
waiting
yeah.
too.
So-
We're waiting too.
I know
And
Jeremy has a hard stop tonight, but
Yeah.
I just want to end with this point. As we continue our bottoms up perspective series, I want to really talk about kind of real life issues. And also next week, we have Walter Lim join us. He's a marketer out in Singapore. And we could talk about like marketing in the East and marketing in the West and the differences. And just talk about the perspective. As we become more innovative as a society, I think now we're more back to relationships and connecting with people. I think humans are never before as hungry for relationship as now. And I think
Thanks to the pandemic.
Yep, and if you look at data from a marketer's perspective, you see it. You know, a lot of people were out at the malls. A lot of people were shopping.
That's true. It's back to normal in Singapore the past this week because work started this week, right? Then,
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the interesting, during Christmas season, some of the e-commerce things actually went down. So
because of shipment as well, right? So people go to the shops to grab what they have, that's physically there. Suddenly there's a huge value in having it there right now, and you can grab it off the shelves rather than wait for the delivery in 2 hours time.
Yep. Well, I know Jeremy has a hard stop, and thank you for joining us tonight. And just remember, value your time as we kick off the new year. It's a short episode, but we want to save your time. So
it's a good one. So, we will see you next time.
We'll see you next week. Later.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.